Welcome, everybody, to the Rebelle Rally Live, presented by Toyota. And this is a very special episode because we're in my backyard.
This is fantastic.
This is amazing. We've got the 2023 Toyota Sequoia behind us, brand new TRD Pro that we've been driving around here for the rally. We're in my backyard because it is the marathon stage, and there are Rebelles kind of everywhere, scattered throughout Johnson Valley. We didn't really have a place to go, so we thought, heck, let's come to my house, have a shower and some pizza.
Thank you so much. That was really generous of you. Also, thank you for making a pit stop and sorting out our flip-flop situation.
Yes,
I totally did a bad job on my footwear for the week. Hey, if you've been watching the scores today, you've noticed they've been kind of all over the place.
A little wackadoo. We will get into some of the tracking and we'll let you know why that is. But basically, we're not going to know what happens on this marathon stage until the end of day 6, which is tomorrow.
Chrissy says around 4 o'clock tomorrow.
All right, around 4 o'clock.
She also says, if you may have noticed, some scores not making a ton of sense before noon today. There was a miscommunication about what was stored in the trackers and yada, yada. Anyway, it's fixed. It's all fine. The other thing to know, though, some teams competing directly with each other may have just gotten more checkpoints today, and others might get those tomorrow. So the scores, don't make up any big story in your head until 4 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah. So this was a marathon stage, which means that they started today at their regular start time. Then this afternoon, or this evening rather, in Johnson Valley, they have a hard stop. It is a pause, a 12-hour pause at 6:30. They will probably be in, we've kind of got 3 designated camping spots. One in Cougar Buttes, which is a lovely rock formation. It's one of my favorite places in Johnson Valley. Also one on Soggy Dry Lake, and then one, I believe, on Means Dry Lake near where King of the Hammers is produced. That we want to keep them in 3 kind of distinct areas. That way we can make sure that people are safe. We've got safety crews there, but this is a self-camp day. So there's no base camp. There's no Drew Deckman. These are independent for tonight.
There are services and such, like she mentioned, available should they be needed, but ideally they're not.
Correct.
But they're nearby, probably in Soggy Lake area.
Yeah. And they won't be camping with them. They will be away by at least a kilometer, but like you said, they are there.
Now, Means Lake is pretty far. That's like the 3rd lake down in the string of those dry lakes, right?
Yes, if you're coming from west to east. So Means Dry Lake, I'm not going to tell you where Means Dry Lake been. I'm not going to tell you.
I think I know where it is. Anyway, I don't think anyone made it that far down. They're more likely in Soggy or the 2nd lake down.
Right, and the reason why Emily wanted to do this, why she wanted to do this hard stop at 6:30 for everybody, regardless of what time you started at, is because she wanted to kind of separate the competitors. Oftentimes in our marathon stages, especially when we were camping like at Dumont Dunes, we would all camp together, and it's great because it's a lot of fun, it's a lot of camaraderie, but she really wanted to give the people that are doing well, the people that are in it to win it, a chance to really sit down and concentrate tonight and not feel like they have to be part of that social commitment. Right? So we'll probably have a group of rookies camping together. They might be a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more, commiserative and empathetic with each other. But I think we're going to see some of the top competitors really kind of isolating themselves so that they can laser focus on what they have to do tomorrow.
Made sense to me, especially rookies are going to want to feel a little bit of security in numbers.
Yeah.
It's like for some rookies, this is still kind of like on the edge of what they're comfortable with entirely.
Yeah, for sure.
And so with 48 checkpoints between the 2 days,
it's a lot.
There's going to be a lot of plotting tonight. They're going to arrive where they're going and then probably still be working.
Yeah, there's no way that they plotted all of those checkpoints today. There's just not enough time.
We tried to chase down some teams today and get some words with them. Katie and I out on course, and every window we looked through, even in the fuel line,
they're just like this, right?
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Just plotting furiously. So we didn't bug them.
Well, I think we've got the tracker here so we can kind of take a look and see what it actually looked like for you folks at home. Now, they started with an on-time enduro. That is that yellow line. So we're going to see everybody just kind of going do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, right? So they're trying to keep that on-time enduro as they come into Johnson Valley. Once they get into Johnson Valley, you guys, it is a freaking free-for-all. And if it looks crazy, it's because it is crazy. Now, each of these teams, they have their own strategy for getting these checkpoints because checkpoints 9 through 38, you can get in any order that you want. I haven't actually seen 9 through 38 plotted on a map, so I don't know. I have no idea what route I would prefer to do, but each team has got their own specific strategy. It looks crazy, But that's just because we don't know we're not in their heads. We're not in the competitors' heads.
Yeah, like one strategy I could imagine you'd like just order the checkpoints based on points available.
Sure.
And nail the top points ones and then work your way back on the lower points ones and then get on the highway to drive tomorrow to be to Glamis on time or something like that.
You could do that, but keep in mind if you've got a bunch of high scoring checkpoints in one area, then you've got a bunch in another. Then you're taking that time to go from one high scoring area to another. Then if you finish those, then you got to get back to this short, to the smaller scoring thing. So that's what I mean. There's all kinds of different ways that you can approach it.
It's such a time management event.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we have seen a lot of teams come through and at the end of the day, they're like, we just didn't have time. We didn't have time. We didn't have time. You really need to be the navigators need to be navigating at every second that they have in the vehicle. There should be absolutely no looking out the window. There should be no I haven't plotted the next checkpoint. Like if you're on a smooth road, you got to be heads down into your map.
That's lucky. I bet there's a good store of Dramamine in a lot of these vehicles.
I don't know how they do it. I would get car sick in a second.
Mean, Chrissy could do it all day as a co-driver and navigator. But yeah, head down and then maybe not slept well, maybe not eaten well. Like it's definitely a formula to be motion sick if you're possible. Anyway.
Yeah. So they did get to go today. They came down into Johnson Valley and they got to Cougar Buttes, which is one of my favorite places in Johnson Valley. It's just this great rock formation. It's actually very tricky to navigate because what you see on the map and what you see in real life, they don't really seem like they coordinate, and it can be super rutted out and very rock climby. A lot of rock climbing. King of the Hammers runs through there. So if you get stuck in a bad line, sometimes you can't turn around and you got to go through it. And there could be boulders the size of your vehicle. It can be really, really tricky.
They're massive. We climbed up on some of that granite and helped Maddie Baker get some footage today. Is that what we're going to watch that now?
I think we've got footage. Let's see. Yeah. So this is the outside of Cougar Buttes flying in there. This is just outside of the little town of Lucerne. So you've got all of these kind of soft, kind of silty roads that are going in there. You have a great power line road that is marked on the map. It's nice and smooth, although with all of the rain, there's probably some ruts. There might actually be some whoops on there. I'm pretty sure I've jumped a Ram TRX on that road.
There are whoops everywhere in Johnson Valley, and when we say you don't want to drive on the race course, well, the moment you're going, whoa, 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 wham, whoa, 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 you're on the race course.
Yeah. There was actually just a race that went through here right near Soggy Dry Lake like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So there's a lot of race course out there to be found. This is a very popular area. I know that there were some teams that were testing for the Baja 1000 out there, so I'm sure that they've seen each other. But yeah, look at those rock formations there on the right. It doesn't look like that on your map. Indeed. It really doesn't.
And speaking of your map, if you're watching YB races and looking at, you can see the different vehicles as they're scattered about here. It's 22 minutes until it's a freeze. Ooh. And some teams probably said, okay, we'll meet you at so-and-so.
Yes.
Because they're able to drive for a little bit longer. They just can't use a tracker, right? Or they can't.
I'm not sure. I think it's a hard stop at 6:30.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a hard stop.
So by then, they're probably grouping up now the ones that do want to spend the night.
But can you imagine, you get to the place where you're supposed to camp, in the safety area, and then you're like, oh, I have 20 minutes left.
What is this compass? I haven't seen that before.
That is Laura Wanless's compass. It's really cool. I think it's a geology compass. It costs $800, which at first I thought she said $80, and I was like, oh, well, that's totally worth it. But it's a sighting compass that then you press a button 3 times, click, 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 and it locks the needle into place.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No, that seems super helpful.
Yeah, so even then, after you lock it into place and you move around, the needle is locked into place, so you always know what your heading is supposed to be until you click, click, click it again.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, but it's very expensive.
There's Holly Casey, and Laura Moore out there, Team 138 in the Jeep. They're in Cougar Buttes area trying to do some navigating.
And, Johnson Valley is an open OHV area, which means that there are plenty of trails out there, but you can also go cross-country. However, we've had a ton of rain. There's a ton of bushes out there, and you really need to be careful. Kurt LeDuc told me this when I ran over a bush in the Bronco DR.
Okay.
And he said, what are you doing? And I said, well, I run over this in my Volkswagen all the time. And he said, where's your Volkswagen's motor? I said, in the rear. He said, do you have a radiator? I said, no. He said, where's the radiator in this car? I was like, it's in the front.
Point made.
Okay,
gotcha.
Fine. I won't do it anymore. So just because it's open OHV doesn't mean that you can safely travel anywhere.
Yeah, well said.
I know he was. I was like,
and,
okay.
And if you find a nice, easy path to drive down, it's going to get whoopy sooner or later.
Yeah,
so
it will, because other people have been there. Side-by-sides have been there.
You do just have to adjust your expectations for how you're going to be able to travel down around in one of the largest, if not the largest, OHV area in the country.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much racing that happens here. King of the Hammers is out here. There's a lot of racing with Moore and Snore. Moore is Mojave Off-Road Enthusiast. Snore is Southern Nevada Off-Road Enthusiast, which for some reason also race in California. Because it's just really, really fun, and the area is so large they can get these really great race courses happening.
Very cool. Well, enough about Johnson Valley for the moment. Let's look. Here we may have some social.
I think we have some social
comments.
things. Oh, I have to put my glasses on because I can't see that far.
Yes, and the way this is fair is yes, it's a hard stop at 6:30. Sorry, let me read it out loud. Ryan, hard stop for everyone, regardless of time at 6:30. Yes, so it took an hour or more to get everyone off the line today. What is different is the finish time tomorrow. So there's the hard stop tonight, but then that time will be made up at the end of the day tomorrow if you're one of the later ones off the line today.
Yeah, so they'll get the time back, just not tonight. All right. Go Mach-E mommies. That's right, Team 202. They're both new moms. Their kids are like 2.5 years old.
Yeah, I used that to haze some of our viewers into realizing that's not an excuse not to be here.
No, it's not. It's not. Now, we also got a little question from a Rivian fan club that was asking about what their state of charge is. So they will charge up to 100% every night. That's not necessarily the healthiest thing for the battery. Usually you want to keep your battery charge in an electric vehicle for battery life between 20 and 80%. However, this is kind of an extreme situation, so they go ahead and they shove all those extra electrons in. They take the time to go all the way up to 100%. I've been talking to some of the Rivian teams. It seems like they're coming in at like 20% state of charge, 25% state of charge. It all depends on where they've gone, if they got lost, if they have a heavy foot, and also what their tire pressure is, right?
Oh, because for sure, they drag.
If you lower your tire pressure too much, you've got more rolling resistance, which is going to make a problem with your range. So.
For sure. Well, we've got Lily and Alex ripping around there near the front of the field.
Right, and Lily does not drive slowly.
No, I hear she's coming in with a little less range than the other Rivian drivers.
Well, we have got some really awesome giveaways for you all. Of course, we've got some promo codes, which is great, but we also have so many cool giveaways up to $5,000. What I really want to get is there's an Onyx Premium subscription, I think, for a year, which is pretty cool. We have got, where's my list? Here it is. Someone's not prepared. A set of MaxTrax recovery boards. I mean, listen, I will not go anywhere without my MaxTrax. I have a set of Extremes, and I have a little set of Minis. Those are pretty dope.
Buddy always carries MaxTrax.
Oh, hell yeah, he does. We've got some recovery gear from Bubba Rope, coffee from Cafe Moto.
Totally. Just a lidocaine pain relief roll-on.
Oh, God, I need that right now for my back.
Yeah. All kinds of just random things. Milwaukee bag. Milwaukee makes so many clever things for folks that like to get their hands dirty and do some work. Happy Hippie lip balms. I mean, it's all the little stuff that makes a difference when you're out here.
Yeah.
For what feels like lifetimes.
Forever. So you can go and sign up for those at rebellerally.com/promos, and you can check all of those things out.
All right. So we do have a surprise.
We do have a surprise at the end of the show here.
Staged up here later.
I know. We've got episode 3 of the docuseries Dead Reckoning. It came out. Is today Wednesday? It came out just this morning. Oh, my God. I have no idea what time it is, what day it is. But we have a quick little teaser, and if you stick around, you might see more. So check out this teaser.
I want to take them to places that they would never, ever go on their own. There's gems out there that are not part of, they literally should be part of national parks. But I don't want to do because then everybody would go there. Just stuff that's visually stunning, or just, why is this here? You know, whether it's an old abandoned mine or some vehicles or some art installation that somebody put out in the desert, you know, for no particular reason. I like to find those kind of things or take them there. There has to be some fun drive, something that's just rewarding and that just with the flow or the way the vehicle performs, and it's like, how do you find that type of, you know, driving experience?
that looks really cool. I haven't seen it yet. I've only seen 1 and 2, so I'm very excited.
It does. A lot of feels in 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And you've got some nice, more than cameos, nice interviews.
Yeah, I got to be interviewed in a studio and everything. It was like a little bit more exciting than this studio out here outside of my backyard.
Just thinking back to 2016, I thought that was a massive spider.
No, just my pen.
She dropped her pen. The tarantulas came with us. Just to think back to 2016, like when the first event happened, Emily had been talking about it seriously since maybe 13, 14.
Yeah.
And she'd been doing the steps she was taking, the things were falling in order, and like here we are. 8 years later.
8 years later, yeah. And, it looks like that Dead Reckoning is going to be a lot about Jimmy Lewis and how Jimmy Lewis sets the course. I will tell you, as a competitor, whenever we would see just a single track for a motorcycle, we would just assume that it was Jimmy Lewis, and we would just say, "We hate you, Jimmy Lewis," but with worse words, because we knew that he was the one that set the course, and we knew that he was the one that was challenging us.
Sure, and he's ripping around on his motorcycle, going to something easy that's going to take you a while to find.
Right, I know, but that's what you get when you have a Dakar winner set your course,
and you can't follow the tracks.
No.
You could try to, but he's going to ride places you can't put a car, so you can't follow his
tracks. So you're just like, oh, man, I hate you, Jimmy Lewis. I hate you. I really love you, Jimmy Lewis. You're the best.
Yeah, we all do.
So I'm just hearing in my ear right now that we're actually going to play excuse me. We're actually going to play the whole episode.
Fantastic.
And if you guys are watching on Facebook Live, Matt and I are going to get our computers out. And if you have any questions, we will be commenting as ourselves. So I am actually M.E. Hall, and you are just Matthew Johnson.
I think I'm Matthew Johnson.
You just have a regular name.
At MJ Rally, you'll find me. Maybe I don't use
Facebook
that much.
We're on Facebook, numbnuts.
Yeah, whatever. I don't use Facebook that much. Anyway, we're both going to do our best to keep up, and we're going to watch the episode with you. Neither of us have seen it yet, so we're going to go check it out when we play it now, and try to interact with everyone that's watching it with us.
All right, so we're going to break for a quick commercial, but when we come back, we're going to have a very special guest on set before we watch the video.
My proudest achievements would be the fact that I did compete and challenge myself in the Rebelle. It was my rookie year, first time doing it. I mean, it's 8 grueling days. There's no GPS. You can't use your phone. You have no contact. So for me to do all of that was pretty darn cool. This, I feel like I am more passionate about, and I have it in my heart because it's something that my family holds dear to them as well. It really helps that I have, people supporting me along the way.
Toyota Trucks. Let's go places.
Welcome back to the Rebelle Rally Live, brought to you by Toyota. We're here at the end of day 5, except that we're in my backyard because we don't really know where any of the Rebelles are. So we came to my house, which is pretty awesome. It's nice to be able to, see the cats and take a shower. But the most important thing is I am here with my good friend, Lynn Woodward. She is a multiple Rebeller. She won second place in the crossover class last year in the Nissan Pathfinder. Just a hell of a human being and a fantastic driver. Lynn, thank you for being in my backyard tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. It's, this is a little surreal being on this side of everything.
I know, right? I've been doing this now for 2 years and I am not really ready for it.
Yeah.
I know. It's cool, huh?
I think the other thing that's really interesting is my teammate is working with your teammate right now.
Right. So my teammate is normally Rebecca Donaghy. I'm the driver. She is a navigator. Lynn's teammate is normally Sedona Blinson. Lynn is the driver. Sedona is the navigator. And those two teamed up, and they are in the BMW X2, brand new, as Team 205. And it's been a little weird, huh?
It's kind of weird. It almost feels like they're cheating on us.
I know, kind of.
And I'm wondering, are they talking about us in the car?
100%. Oh, well, Emmy doesn't do it like
strange.
that.
You're way better at that than Lynn is. Oh my gosh. I don't know. It is a little surreal.
But the thing is if you and I teamed up,
we would
so
still
lost.
be where we should, where we would have been in day 2.
Yeah.
No, that would not. I love you, but that would never work.
No, it would be terrible. I always say that I can navigate us to town. I can always get you to town. Now, whether or not I can get you to a particular bar stool in the bar at town, that's a whole other Oprah. But I can get you to town.
No, I probably can't even do that. I transpose numbers, so I'd be like, "Oh, why are we in Africa for this next point?" I have no idea. Other side of the globe.
Lynn, we have actually shown you on some of the teasers for the docuseries Dead Reckoning. So, and I know you show up in episode 3. Yeah. So, I want to ask you, why did you think it was important to be a participant in the docuseries?
This has been such an important event in my life. Literally doing this has changed my life, and not just personally, but my career as well. And I think when people ask questions about it and they kind of wonder, well, what is it, and what's it like, what's it all about? It's always really important for me to be able to communicate exactly what it is to people. The first year that I did it, I did a video for The Drive about my experience in it. And the few times that I've had Rebelles, current Rebelles, come up to me and say, you know what? I had no idea what I was getting into, but I watched your video, and it was a pretty raw video for me.
Yeah.
That was a pretty tough year for me. But they said that it really helped them, and it kind of gave them a sort of a sense or an idea of what they were getting themselves into. And I think that to go even more in depth with the interviews, talking to Chrissy and talking to Jimmy, and really kind of getting into the nuts and bolts of what this is, will really prepare future Rebelles for what it is that they're about to do.
Yeah, it is very difficult to explain and to get across how hard this rally is and how emotionally draining it is, how physically draining it is, and unless you do it. And people come to the rally and they're not sure that they're not sure what to expect. And these docuseries really gives you an idea of it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard.
I watched the first 2 episodes with my parents, and they've known what's going on, and I've explained it to them. But even they were like, "Whoa!" There's so much the depth of information that is in those first, even just the first 2 episodes. They were like, "Oh, this is really interesting, and I didn't know this or that."
Yeah.
And I think originally the program was supposed to only be 4 episodes, and they just had such a volume of footage and of information that they've turned it into 5.
Yeah, it's amazing. Visual Films did a great job on this documentary. I'm really excited to see episode 3, which I believe is called
The Wild West. I think is
the
what
Wild
it's called.
West. That's the Wild West. I believe it goes into a lot of the locations. We talk a lot to Jimmy Lewis, who, as we all know, is Jimmy Lewis Dakar winner. It's just kind of a big deal.
So can we tell a quick Jimmy Lewis story?
Yeah.
So this was a couple of years ago. We were out. This is Glamis. So the last day, which is the sand dunes, and for me, super stressful. And we were with Rochelle and Taylor. This was the year that they won in their GX.
They had the GX, yeah.
And we're out there on the sort of on the other side of the dunes, kind of not the Essie Dunes. Which,
Right.
I don't know
You're
if
on the
I say that word. We were on the Gecko Road side.
Uh-huh.
And we're doing our thing, and our girls are plotting and trying to figure out like where the heck we are. And all of a sudden, I see this guy in like a full moto suit with a helmet on, and I was like, "You guys, there's somebody over by our cars, like looking at our cars, like who?" I was genuinely like freaked out, like who is this? There's a guy, like who is that? And it was Jimmy Lewis, like trying to figure out. Making sure that we were doing everything the way that we were meant to be doing it, but he does that to you. He just
he sneaks up on you,
and he's just like, "Hi."
All right, well, here we go. Let us roll the full episode 3 of Dead Reckoning called The Wild West.
When you push yourself out of your comfort zone, do difficult things, and build skills that will last a lifetime, you'll never be lost again.
It is a full-time job for quite a few people to make sure that each aspect of the Rebelle is as special as it is. What comes first is a great course. If it's not a great course, people aren't going to come back. And it's a well-thought-out course. It's a very curated course. Rod Hall was going to be the course director. He knows Nevada and parts of California so well, but right after I'd decided to do the Rebelle, Rod was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. And he, unfortunately, declined fairly quickly. And so I knew I would have to have, a different course director. And that was really hard, but it was really a joy to be able to take Rod out and drive him, on the course so he could see, the vision of what it looked like. At that point, then I said, well, who am I going to get? I went to Jimmy Lewis, and I had worked with Jimmy on King of the Motos, and, Jimmy is a trail savant. He knows every trail and back road. He's done it on his motorcycle countless times. He's a legend, and I knew that he would be a great course director because I knew that I would need to put together the checkpoints and challenges, but I needed someone who really understood where the course can go and where it can't go. And I knew areas where I wanted to go. I knew a lot of the pieces, but sometimes you need to weave them and stitch them together to where they all flow. And I knew that every year we were going to need to do a new course because with the type of format it is, you can't just be on the same course with the same checkpoints all the time. You have to change it, and that's the beauty of that.
Some traction right there. In low rains, the Jeeps can do that, no problem.
Yeah, I'll take my truck through here. I'm not afraid. As you can tell by the dance.
Okay. This is what we do to make a great course. If people only knew.
My name is Jimmy Lewis. I'm the course director for the Rebelle Rally. Well, when I was a kid, I knew I liked motorcycles. I liked bicycles and motorcycles, and the very first time I ever rode a motorcycle, I knew I'd found my thing. And just the places motorcycles have taken me, whether it's places in the world or just places locally, the sensations that you get, the feelings, and then racing was just a natural evolution of that because it was like, how can I do this more? Found off-road racing, which instead of just doing a couple motos, you got to ride all day. You do these long races. Lots of different places instead of just the same track over and over. So with that, I was able to race, all over Southern California, all over the western United States, and then slowly all over the world, racing down in Baja, racing in Africa, racing in Europe. On the resume thing, the Dakar podium, the Dakar Rally would probably be the highlight of it. Winning stages on Dakar was huge. Winning the Baja 1000 overall with Johnny Campbell. I would have liked to have had better success, but I had good success and pretty happy with it. I've been so many different places, but even in places I've been, there's always another nook and cranny someplace else to see. I always wonder what's around the next corner, and if I've been around the next corner, is there another corner I can take to go to a different spot?
Jimmy Lewis' perspective of the course is pretty interesting. He can tell you where every rock, every bush is located in the desert, and not only that, is where there used to be a rock or a bush located in the desert. It's all in his mind. He can see it all. He can visualize it all.
Jimmy doesn't even need a compass. We call it the JPS. He knows what heading everything is. He knows distance. He's just amazing. Each year, Jimmy puts together kind of a dream of where he wants to go. And then he puts his dream, and I put my dream out there, and then we blend the two.
The combination between Emily and Jimmy is they're both riders and drivers, so they love the terrain. They put together these checkpoints in locations that most people would never even imagine driving to or realize there's a road or an access point to that.
He thinks about every twist and turn like I do. Like, what's it going to be like when they come up over this ridge line? And what's going to be the big reveal? And, gosh, we have to put a checkpoint right here because this is just amazing. Because they have to stop for a second. This can't be a road book because they'll just drive right through it and not notice. But if we put a point right here, they're going to, it's just going to be epic. They'll never forget it. I mean, we both think that way. But it's really important for me that Jimmy gets to create.
I want to take them to places that they would never ever go on their own. There's gems out there that are not part of, they literally should be part of national parks, but I don't want them to be because then everybody would go there. Just stuff that's visually stunning, or just, why is this here? Whether it's an old abandoned mine or some vehicles or some art installation that somebody put out in the desert, for no particular reason. I like to find those kind of things or take them there. There has to be some fun driving, something that's just rewarding and just with the flow or the way the vehicle performs, and taking into consideration we have everything from mom's little Subaru to fully capable, Jeeps and stuff, and it's like, how do you find that type of, driving experience? Then just kind of drilling down on the different levels of what makes the Rebelle what it is. From the enjoyment factor and the scenic qualities to the core navigation to it, to how are we going to get a fuel truck there. And then we start, micromanaging it to these levels. How far does an EV go? When does the snow melt? How deep is the river going to be? How soft is the sand? How hot? How cold? Really putting all those pieces together, and so that you don't feel like it's just another stamped race course that, okay, are we going to go on this route or this route this year? We always want to do more with the event. We always want to make it evolve, make it grow. Now, what are our land management agencies going to think about all this? For all the hard work we've put in, we have a really good relationship with them. They understand what we're doing. And we were all able to kind of work together because, frankly, it's public lands, and we're just driving, street legal vehicles. We're not a race. We're just big scavenger hunt, going really cool places.
One of the places that I really love, and I'd never been there, which I can't believe, but I'd never been to Trona before. When we got to Trona, I was like, what is this? This is great. I love that place. It's so magical and just crazy, crazy beautiful. A lot of times Emily will put us in places and she's like, yeah, did you go out and look inside the Diana's punch bowl? No, you gave us 25 checkpoints. We didn't look at shit. What are you, crazy? Oh my God, it's so funny to me. Emily always thinks that we have more time than we do. We're like, no, we are trying to do your stupid rally, and you give us too many checkpoints. We're not looking at anything.
It can definitely be hard when you're making the course and you're making the rules to get exactly the right balance between how hard a day is and how fun it is, because it needs to be both, right? It needs to be challenging and it needs to be fun. And putting both of those things together can be challenging. But Emily puts the course together every year, and she knows that there are days when the scenery is just absolutely stunning and beautiful. Those are the days when you can make it pretty darn difficult, and everyone's just going to be so stoked to even have just been out in this area at the end of the day that even though it was very, very hard, they're just like, yeah, but it was beautiful. Right? And then there's other days when you're just like, well, the scenery is so-so, it's pretty rough, it's pretty rocky, or it's just, open or bushy or something like that. And you're just like, those days, maybe we should just make it a little bit easier, maybe have an enduro challenge in there. Putting those days together is something that I think that Emily does an amazing job at.
People say to me, you shouldn't be out on the course, because I'll spend, 25 to 40 days a year out on the course, confidentially, driving it, pre-running, laying out checkpoints. People say, do you drive the course? Like, of course I drive the course. I don't create it from the air, We spend a lot of time walking and looking and hiking, and we think about, what's in their mind, when they're stressed, when they're making these decisions, what kind of decisions are they going to make? Are they going to be decisions that really there's a high probability it's going to end their rally? We have to remove it. We want to push people, but we don't want people to get hurt, destroy their cars. We want to give them the option to make a good decision.
Oh, so 4x4 is going to go, that means Butte.
Yes.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah.
If I were just dealing with the legal and the financial, crunching the budget, dealing with the problems that arise, I wouldn't do it.
The vehicles in the Rebelle Rally are all 4x4s or all-wheel drive vehicles. So we have two classes, and that is the 4x4 category and the X-Cross. 4x4s can be anything from your standard Jeeps and Toyotas and vehicles that have low range and vehicles that put power to all four wheels selectively. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the most capable vehicles win by any means. We have had stock vehicles win. We have had very underprepared vehicles come in and win this event. In the hands of the right driver and navigator, the vehicle matters, but only to a point.
The capabilities of the standard vehicles, box stock vehicles, is ridiculous. We have these crossover, which is, it's just your little, I call it a little subcompact all-wheel drive car without a transfer case with low ground clearance. You put some good tires on it, maybe a skid plate. It's like, well, how far can this thing go? And with a set of max tracks, you'd be amazed at where you can take one of those vehicles.
Because I had the opportunity to do the X-Cross class in the Nissan Pathfinder Rock Creek edition, that actually was more of a driver's challenge for me than any of the other times that I competed in the 4x4 class. It really taught me a lot about what those cars are really capable of doing. And I think that any OEM who is smart enough to put their cars into this event, they will understand that. And I love seeing engineers and developers from Honda and Rivian and the folks from Toyota, all of these people who are like, yeah, okay, like this looks like a great testing ground. And it 100% is.
Especially when you just have like a stock vehicle, and especially like a stock crossover, And you're like, well, I mean, I don't know. Do I want to get off on that gravel road? Like, yes, you do, because your vehicle can do that. Especially if you throw some tires on it, you're going to be okay. You have to be smart, don't be dumb. It gives you the confidence to look at a map and say, I think we can do this route. But also to look at the map and say, and if we can't, there's an out here, there's an out here, there's an out here. So then you're just ready for your adventure.
It all starts from that course. And then it goes to this incredible competition, which is the format we created ourselves. And then you're surrounded by the staff. They're amazing. And then you have the rally and you're surrounded by these competitors and you watch the transformation of what it's like from day 1 when they come in to day 10 when they depart, and then the impact it has when they go take it into their personal life. And it just becomes this breathing, living organism that is just extremely rewarding.
Emily and I have talked about it before, and this event has turned into its own entity. It's got its own personality. It's got its own soul, I think, if you ask the right person. If it was just like any other event, I think it would get stale, and I think even the staff and the competitors would get bored of it. Because the event evolves and changes continuously, gets more challenging, that's part of what draws us all here. The other side of that, too, is it's so much more than a competition. It's the culture, it's the tribe. It'll literally change your life.
Wow.
Welcome back.
I know, just staring at my phone and trying to read and reply
I know,
and
that was
watch
fun.
the show. That was a lot harder than we expected.
Yeah, that was fun. But what a great episode. Like, really getting into how Emily and Jimmy set that course out there, walking the trails, doing every single kilometer that all of the competitors do, plus all of the areas where they think, well, maybe someone's going to take this route. Maybe someone's going to take this route. So they're out there so much.
Yeah, and like you said, planning the weather, planning like what the water is.
But how do you
there's
plan
so
the weather?
many things that have to be in consideration. Like, I don't know. I know. Like, how do you plan those things?
Yeah. That's why they had to reset the course very close to the opening day of this year's event, because there was so much weather. And I know we keep harping on it, but you guys, it was a big deal. It was a big deal to remake that course so quickly.
And not to talk a lot about this, but Emily was also dealing with a government shutdown.
Oh, yeah, she was. She was.
Like, dealing Forest Service, BLM, all kinds of,
When I heard that the government didn't shut down, I heard it on NPR, and I immediately texted her. I'm like, government's open!
Things got a little bit crazy.
Yeah, it was definitely a little bit stressful this year. But you know what? That is, we still do it because we love it and we want to put on a good event for all the competitors and also all of the staff. We all have a great time hanging out here, hanging out together.
We do. It's our Rebelle family.
Yeah, we got a lot of comments about people who want to volunteer. If you do want to volunteer, on the website there should be an email to get more information. That will actually go to a live person, not just some crazy inbox, so you can inquire there. It actually is kind of a good way to learn the format, honestly.
I replied that the best way to volunteer is to come and be a competitor, figure out how this thing works, and then say...
the best way to do it is to volunteer first, and then you get the layout of how the base camp works, and then that's one less thing that you have to learn.
Well, there you go.
There you go. Well, we are here live from my backyard, coming for the end of day 5. Tomorrow morning, we're going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to sleep in because we don't have a show until 9 a.m.
Well, by 9, we're able to tell a little bit more of the story.
Yep.
We're able to see where they woke up and who's getting checkpoints already, and we can hear, I still think we might see some mechanicals from yesterday.
We might.
Yesterday was really rough, and so some of those mechanicals didn't surface maybe yet yesterday,
right.
So they don't have mechanics help tonight.
Yep.
So, there's going to be some stories for you.
Exactly.
9.
And one of the things that they're going to be doing tomorrow is what we call the Jimmy Lewis Enduro. Jimmy, of course, is a Dakar winner. So he's done a Dakar-style rally book, which has a lot of different abbreviations. There's a lot of different just different terminology that they need to know. This will not be an on-time enduro, but it's going to be very, very precise, and they will need to follow this road book very precisely in order to get any of the checkpoints that they have remaining in Johnson Valley before they take their transit stage down to the giant dunes of Klamath.
There's no chance we have a picture of a tulip to show them, is it? Like a road book that's a Dakar-style road book is going to have a tulip at a distance. And so our folks in Team 155, the Defender 130, they're running on a stock Odo, but this road book is going to have. There we go. Amazing.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see this, but this is what a traditional enduro looks like. So you have your miles here. You have what it's going to look like, what the intersection is going to look like, and then any notes that are actually in English. But in a Dakar-style road book, all of these things that are in English, they might be in French, they might be abbreviated, they might have some weird, like, you don't know, like a cap heading or there's all kinds of different things, and you really need to know your stuff. I obviously do not know my stuff because I'm not a navigator, I'm just a driver. But
same here.
We will start off with that tomorrow.
But that road book, you saw the tulip, so it looks like, okay, great, at 2.91 I turn right. Well, yeah, you turn right, but there might be 3 other rights, some other roads, a crest, things you don't expect.
Right.
Those on-route enduros are pretty tricky.
It is tricky, and Jimmy Lewis does not make it easy for our competitors. But at any rate, we will see you all tomorrow at 9 a.m. We will be out in the field in the beautiful Johnson Valley. As always, this is my friend Matthew Johnson.
And my friend Emmy Hall at Emmy Hall's backyard.
In Emmy Hall's backyard. Well, again, we'll see you guys tomorrow. This has been Rebelle Rally Live, brought to you by Toyota. Have a good night, y'all.